Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest on the Working Title podcast with Zachary Scott King. Not only my first ever podcast guest, the first repeat podcast, we have the
hmm
wonderful, beautiful, talented Alicia Kidman. Welcome to the program.
Hello, Zachary Scott King.
Hello, hello, hello. What the first not only the guest that launched me into international podcast superstardom, the first guest to come back. That's so fun. Welcome back. I'm glad to have you on the pod again. Again.
You didn't give me your word that I'll be the first repeat guest, but you're honorable to
Well,
that.
yeah, so now that I am a international celebrity
hmm
in the podcasting space, I owe it all to you, really.
Australia loves you.
Yeah, you were the very first guest. That's so fun. So you're back. You're back on the Working Title podcast, and I want to catch up on your life. I want to catch up on what you're doing. So how's everything going?
So, where to start?
Where to start? Bing bing bing.
So, currently, I am on a podcast called The Order of Chaos with a K, written and produced by my good friend Omar Mansano, and
Cheers for Omar.
yes, I love him. And I play the character Alice. He did write her for me and named her after me. He said he was very inspired, which I'm very honored by that. I love playing her. It's a fantasy podcast, and everyone is magical and mystical to some degree. She has powers, she's a witch, and she's just so unapologetic. So, getting to play her, I feel like I have a lot of fun with it. And we're starting season 2 right now and in the process of recording. And I just love being with everyone, sitting around. With voice acting, it's
Mm,
especially fun for me because you go bigger
yeah.
bigger, bigger, bigger. You know, you're only acting with your voice, so you can really go into your imagination and just
Yeah.
go crazy with it. So,
Yeah, that's great. That's love Omar. And so I know also you just got a role in Cash 3.
hmm
You play Haley, is that right?
yes,
Cheers for Cash 3. Good for you. That's great.
thank you.
I know Cash 1 and Cash 2 are on Amazon Prime and Cash 3 will be as well,
Yeah,
correct?
it's set to release next year.
Wow, that's great. So, tell me about playing Haley on in the movie Cash 3.
So first, I will talk about Stan, the director, Stan Harrington.
Cheers for Stan.
He is another local Australian working for many years here in LA, and he's a good friend and good director too. He cast me as the role of Haley because he saw the wild side of her. Playing her, she is very free spirited. She's very edgy, I guess you could say.
Mm.
No cares, no worries. Playing her was fun because I got to create an entire backstory for her. It's not really given much in the script. Why is she hitchhiking down the road and gets picked up by a Harley Davidson rider and then ends up working at a cafe? So I created the whole backstory for her, why she left and ran away and things like that. That was fun to do. And it's just playing someone who's very fearless almost is
Mm.
freeing in a way too. So
That's great. Good for you. And for the listeners, if you didn't catch the first episode with Alice, um, Alice and I met at Stella Adler. Alice is a graduate of the Stella Adler program,
mhm.
and we first met in the very first class I took there, Technique One, and she's a phenomenal actress. I've seen her do a lot of things on stage. Seen her on camera. Really, really great, and it's really cool to see you now, having graduated from school, out in the real world, out in the actual acting world, and you're
Yeah.
getting roles. That's great.
In
That's
this big scary unknown.
yeah, no, but that's great. I mean, I never doubted for a second that it would happen for you. Um, tell me a little bit what it's like for you being on set, like on a movie set. What tell me how and actually after we talk about this, I kind of want to ask you in terms of what it's like being in the real world versus like what it was like at school in terms of how you prep for things. And
Hmm.
so tell me what it's like you're on set. What how do you prepare? What's your day look like on set? How do you get into your process? Tell me all about that.
Yeah. Well, um, I've come to realize that being on set, even though it's very intense, it's long hours. We know you work very hard. It's a lot. It's draining, but it's it feels kind of like a structure.
Mm.
So having the directors, having people tell you what's happening, a shot list, things like that. It feels structurized, and I
Yeah.
feel like creative people, we're very free inside, but we need structure.
Need structure. Yeah, no, that's so true.
So that kind of intertwines with your second question, the real world versus school versus being on set, things like that. Some people thrive doing whatever they want every single day and just being,
Yeah.
completely carefree. I have that within me, but I do love the structure, the getting up early, same time every single day, working on something. The process obviously is at home. You do your job at home, you learn your lines, you do all your character work, things like that, and then you show up and you just do the work. You do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Everything else, Kate Blanchett said once, everything at home is homework, and on the screen, it's all in you. No one wants to see you do the homework, so
Mm.
that always stays with me. School, yeah, it's that structure, it's that knowing where you're going. Also, we're theatre trained, so working on something continuously for a long, extended period of time, you really can go as deep as possible with it. I think we talked about this last time too. Whereas the industry can move very fast. There's all different things happening. Obviously, if you get a long-term character that you play or work on a movie for a long time, you can develop that deepness, but sometimes things move really rapidly, sometimes not.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
that answered your question exactly, but
No, that's great. I mean, I know exactly what you mean in terms of the benefits of having structure can be really great, especially for like I think when you really start cooking with gas and like really start making things happen is when you can blend the two sides of like the creative free spirit artist side
yeah,
with actually boundaries like concrete
yeah,
goals structure it it benefits I think everybody if you're working on a project to be like oh okay here's a list I'm here at 9 a.m. I'm doing this at 10 a.m. This is where I have to go here this is where I have to go there
yeah.
like that
The director does the director's job,
yeah
and the
exactly
assistant director does it. Like
because it's nice and I know what you mean too.
organized chaos.
Yeah, I know what you mean too in terms of it is nice to like some people can sort of wing it like their life. They can sort of like literally wing it
Yeah,
like and which is great too, I guess, but it is nice to be like okay, this is where I have to show up. This is what, it's nice to kind of be told what to do.
yeah. It's
And
interesting because I always think about that with musicians and actors as well.
yeah.
We're constantly, everyone's creative, but we're constantly talking about, the boxes and the defined walls and things like that. But that's what they said as well, that actors like to be told what to do and musicians just do their own thing, but
Yeah.
nothing's black or white. So,
So, when you are working on this character Haley in Cash 3, um, did you when you were doing your character work and you were building the inner life and did you draw inspiration from anywhere particular or were you just doing was that all imagination? Do you have inspiration?
So her story was, I created that completely. Like she left, like where she was living, who her partner was that she left, things like that. But her inspiration, I kept referring to the girls in the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the ones
Mm,
that live in the big open space.
yeah,
Just so like la di da, like
yeah,
free flowing and
yeah,
the carefree, winging their way through life completely.
yeah.
Um, but she also has a bit more angst within her as well. She has anger. She's mad at the world, whatever the reason is. And I think she was just at a point where she was like, sometimes you just literally want to kill your old life off completely and go and make a new one. And yeah, that's
That
what was driving her.
that's relatable. Do you find that this character is similar to you? Do you find that she's different? And after you answer that, what's harder? Like we may have talked about that earlier, but I, as you grow as an actor, I think that question can change. Or I mean, that answer to that question can change. So, is Haley similar to you? Yes, no.
Haley definitely has parts of me that I have within me, and I know that that's one of our biggest jobs as actors is to ask the question, how are they like me and how are they not like me?
Right.
I struggle with that because I feel like I can find something to relate to in every single person, every character, every girl
Yeah.
in a different way. Um, so you'll always find, and I guess that's a good thing because you'll always find an answer, and then you'll always find the ones how you're not like them as well. I would say yes, she definitely. I ha- is it she has a lot in me or I have a lot in her.
Mm,
Either way, but I don't always act on it.
mm,
So she's more. I want to say brave in a way. Like I would never go hitchhiking down a highway and get on a random person's motorbike. But I've definitely had lots of moments of her
mm,
craziness for sure. But
mm.
yeah,
So, like, it's interesting when now that you've been out in the real world and like you've left the nest of school and all
hmm
that, like, do you bring things with you from your training at Stella Adler, like when you're prepping for a role, like do you still are there still go-tos that you use from school when you get into a character?
yeah. I learned so many, like, I learned 2 years worth of technique there.
Yeah.
I wish I could apply every single bit of it to every character, but sometimes you just don't need it.
Yeah.
You don't need all of that. It might be a very simple, light-hearted character. You don't need their dead grandparents underneath the depth of that.
Right.
Something that I think about a lot that always stood out is um, Rick Peters would always say, what do you want? Why do you want it? What are you doing to get it?
Right.
And acting aside, I think that's literally just how humans do anything in life. When we want something, that's the only thing that pulls you to take action.
Yeah.
So I have been really trying to focus on that. What does this character want? Because that you literally don't move your body. You don't lift a finger unless you want something. You just took a drink of your water bottle.
Yeah.
It's want. So any actions, whether they know it, whether it's subconscious or not, what do they want, why, and what are they doing to get it? I think if I don't act on any of my other techniques, I just go to that one specifically.
Yeah, totally. And like it's funny that you mentioned like in terms of going into something with like maybe this doesn't require like um the extreme amount of like inner life. Like I'm right now at Stella, I'm taking audition skills with Chris Thornton. Um and
Phenomenal man.
he's the man. And what's changed my approach, he's changed my approach completely to auditioning in general. Like his whole philosophy is like, okay, like it's so different from preparing for like a play or a role like in a movie. Like auditioning is it's its own skill. Literally it's its own thing. And he's like, look, like if you for an audition, you get sent the sides, or you get sent like one scene or a fraction of one scene. So he's like, um you don't have the material to do the character work necessarily. Like you don't
Yeah.
have unless you unless you get emailed like the whole script, which is very rare. I've never had that really with an audition.
Yeah.
I've only been given one scene, blah
Or
blah blah.
or they'll send you like three different sides, three different emotions, and they
Yeah.
don't correlate at all in the storyline.
Right.
So,
And so what he says is like the point of an audition is to basically just showcase that you're a good actor. And like he's like the people that work, it's not like you book every single thing you audition for. What happens is over time you consistently send in quality auditions. So like in today's day and age, most auditions are self tapes. And he was like, since you don't have the full script and you don't have the materials necessarily to dive into the inner life of this character, do the character work, what he says is like make a choice, always make a choice, and even if it's completely the wrong choice for this character for this script, do it well. Like even if you're doing something wrong, do something wrong well.
yeah.
Because if you can showcase that you're a good actor, um the casting directors watching this maybe will be like, all right, this isn't right at all for this part, like, but that could work. So something down the line, like if you can showcase that you're a good actor, they're like, all right, maybe they won't book this, but they are going to book. They will book.
I think
Um,
we like freak ourselves out so much too about like, well, what you just said, it's exactly it. Like, what do we do as actors? We display emotions and feel them. Obviously, you have to get it right, the right emotion
right.
for the right storyline. But if they're not giving you the whole storyline, like maybe the character is being manipulative in this moment, but you display it as sadness or something, that's a strong choice still.
Yeah.
We probably freak ourselves out so much about like, yeah, getting it 100% right and
Yeah.
getting deep into the psyche of this person. You can't unravel someone's entire subconscious in a few lines.
Right. Yeah, I've really really enjoyed taking this class. Like I've been getting a lot of auditions myself, and after taking this class, I'm like, wow, like beforehand, I was what I may as well have not even been. I shouldn't have even sent a lot of these auditions in because I was just like, and another big thing that he says is like, um, mistakes will be forgiven in an audition if the connection is solid. Like if you're connected to what you're doing, that's more important for an audition necessarily than being completely word perfect. Like
Yeah,
even if you do mess up a word or a line here or there, it will be forgiven if you are plugged in and connected. Like the
yeah,
connection is more important than necessarily being word perfect, which is such a different approach that from like a play, like a theater, like that you really want to emphasize being as perfect as you can. But in
stay
a
in it.
yeah, stay in it. But he's like in an audition, it's not realistic necessarily. If you get an audition on, if you get sent something on Monday and they want it in by Wednesday, like the bigger emphasis should for you as an actor should be to connect to the scene, connect to your choices, connect to your emotion and your scene partner more so than being like, okay, like what he says is the person who sends in an audition that is 100% completely word perfect, but that's it. Like there's nothing underneath it. Versus someone who sends an audition that is really in it, connected, but and they messed up a line here, they messed up a line here. He was like, usually it's actually going to go to that person that's connected but not word
Yeah,
perfect
of
versus
course.
the person that's word perfect but that's it. That the only
Yeah.
thing that's great about it is that they got all the
Because
words
then they're
right.
just reciting and
Yeah, because then you're just showing up and reading the lines, and you maybe you got them all right. That's great, but if there's nothing underneath it, then it's like,
yeah.
So I guess like the biggest, so far the biggest takeaways for me have been like, okay, th- uh, auditioning is our job, and getting the role is the reward. I
Yeah.
think is what you have to focus on as an actor. Like auditioning is your job,
That's the hardest thing to accept
right?
too.
And booking is the gravy. Like so, um, it's funny. We started this conversation about Order of Chaos with a K, which you can check out on Spotify and Apple, I believe.
Hmm.
Um, Tell me a little bit
And
about,
YouTube.
yeah, and YouTube, and tell me a little bit about what you like about getting into a character when you're doing voice acting, because I love voice acting too.
So I was shy. I'm not going to say hesitant. I was just shy at first to do it because voice acting, like, there's speaking, music, things like that. It's the complete truth. I guess what I mean by that is you can always like manipulate your actions and body language and things like that, but speaking is so the truth of a character in voice acting is you have to bring it out solely through your voice.
Mm,
That's the only way that you can show their emotion, what they're really feeling. It's one level. So you go 100% with it. I understood the character Alice because, Omar based her off me, but also explained her since all humans are multifaceted, I think we all have lots of sides. He really like pulled her depth out of me, if that makes sense. You can close your eyes and listen to everyone else around you and you're sitting around the table. Your imagination goes full active.
yeah,
Like one of the characters, Philip, is a little turtle in there and you just see him when he's speaking.
yeah,
So I like that aspect. Plus feeling the energy of everyone around. We do all of our recordings live, so it's you feel it authentically. And I don't know, I think it's a new level of something that I haven't tried before, something I've been hesitant towards. And there's voice actors who voice like 8 different characters on a TV show,
yeah.
and how do they just jump from character to character?
It's a good, like what you just said is really important though, because I think um, voice acting is a really good, for the reason that you just said, you only are conveying work through audibly, and that's a great base, I think, for everything else. Like because if you can get your point across just using your voice, if you have that training and then you acquire that skill going forward, and then you're acting on stage, or if you're acting in front of a camera, you really become a better actor because you're like, not only now am I like, I'm gonna do that same thing, I'm gonna convey all my emotion with my voice, but now I have the luxury of my body too. Like
Yeah.
it's a great skill to have, voice acting. Like um I think, with what I've been working on lately, acting wise, has been focus. There's so many things to think about with acting, and a lot of times I try to just be like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on one thing right now. Like, there's so many things to think about. I'm going to try to focus on one thing at a time right
One
now.
thing 100%.
Right. And so for me, lately, what I've been doing is completely trying to focus on relaxation, being relaxed. Everything comes from that. Like you
Hmm.
have to start from a place of relaxation, especially on camera.
The nervous
And
system needs to be
it's
chilled
you
out.
have to start. You have to have like extreme relaxation, and where I've been trying to grow has been like, everything for me is like trial and error. Like I try this thing out, maybe it does work, maybe it doesn't work. But like with the relaxation thing, I've been trying to come to a place where it's like I have to make sure total relaxation doesn't manifest itself in a way that looks like low energy.
Yeah.
Like I just played, shout out Eric and Liz. I just played um, a sheriff for them in a short called Carrie, the interrogation of Sheriff Doyle, and I play this sheriff who's in shock, like of this insane paranormal event that's happened, and I'm giving a testimony and I'm in shock. And I saw a cut of it and I think it's pretty good. Like I know it's pretty tacky to like talk about yourself like that, but it's
No,
decent. Like
say it.
it's because what I was focusing on was all right, I'm playing someone who's in shock, which is a very um
Hard emotion to play.
yeah, because there's not a lot of emotional range you can do with that. But the thing I was focusing on was like, all right, be shocked, but don't be low energy. Be relaxed, but don't be low energy. Like I think that's, and I've asked Chris and I've asked Rick about this at Stella Adler, and they both gave really good answers. I've also asked the an acting teacher I've been working with. His name is Russ, and they've all kind of said the same thing more or less where uh, the biggest takeaway was relaxation isn't necessarily a low energy state. It's just the base of where you have to be to empty yourself out so you can invite something else in.
Yeah.
Does that, you know what I mean?
I do, because I've actually been, that's been the theme of my life in real life, like in normal life, every day. Becoming an actor, like the more you get in touch with your emotions, whether it's through other characters or not, you can't really turn that off. So
Right.
you become so in tune with your body. I think that, just a side note as well, because everything you're saying is so true, but we become so in tune with our body that it's like a natural process of why do people want to stop eating sugar, or why do people choose to stop drinking, things like that, because you feel deeper.
Yeah.
And I can actually like feel now when I have any walls up,
Mm,
and it's such a strange thing because like you said, the relaxation is the base. How are you supposed to feel shock? How are you supposed to feel anything if you're not relaxed, if you're not receptive, the energy, whatever spiritual stuff you want to talk about can
yeah.
like flow in and out.
Yeah.
So I understand that completely.
I the only reason I started thinking about this was because in a lot of these trial and error um, periods for me on stage, like and in a class setting, the reason I'm so fond of like Stella Adler or just class in general is because especially early in your career it's hard to book a lot of stuff early, so you may as well train. Like you may as well like you get better at acting by acting.
Yeah.
Like you may as well. And just lately the biggest thing I've been like okay, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that, I'm going to see this. And with the relaxation thing, I kind of misunderstood like what that was. Like even from the beginning courses at Stella, like Tech One and all those, you know, it's harped on you relax, relax, relax,
Yeah, I
relax.
thought it was all a little like,
But then I remember specifically in one of Rick Peters' class, I think it was on camera one. Yeah, I think it was on camera one. I did some scene and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna relax. I'm just gonna relax like this whole time. And I watched it, and it was like I was doing nothing. And I was like, okay, all right. So it's not, it's not like going up there and just being like insanely chill. What it means is relaxing first to as like a vessel to get where you need to be.
yeah,
It's not like if like I'm doing a scene where I'm shouting at my wife or I'm fighting with a friend or something. I can't do that and just be like, "Hey, stop." Like, hey, don't do that." Hey. Like that's not what the relaxation means. And I'm kind of I have a new appreciation for that because I'm kind of figuring that out as I go. Like
Yeah.
as a when so like when you're on set for Cash 3, were there any particular moments on camera where you had to kind of remind yourself of like how to plug in or like how to or for the most part did things go smoothly? I have to sneeze. If it
I literally just had to sneeze as
it's
well.
coming.
I held it in. That was so weird. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, for me, it's like theater and film is so different. It's a
Yeah.
big thing to adjust to. I love them both. I have deep, deep appreciation for both. For me, on set, it's the in between time. What are you doing when it's not your scene?
Mm,
A few hours can go by. Like the
yeah.
scenes, as we know in the industry, are not filmed in order.
Yeah.
It's not an ongoing thing. It's cut, copy, paste, switch out, this and that. I was sitting down like in the in between time, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I should eat. I don't.
Right.
What do I do? I don't want to eat on set. Do I talk to them?
Yeah.
Do I chill? I didn't know how to just be normal in those in between times because I didn't want to get out of character and things
Right.
like that. But that's just being, you learn as time goes on as well. That's just being hyper focused and I want to get it right and this and
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I think everything went as smooth as it could. Things always go wrong on
Yeah.
set all the time. But yeah, definitely learning how to act normal in the in between times of scenes.
That's such a good point because uh, the the mentally I think the hardest part of acting is staying vigilant with your own focus the whole day. Like let's say you have a 12-hour day and
Hmm.
you're shooting, you know, however many scenes. What you just said is so true because it's like it's not like you just have to show up and do like one monologue and then you're done. Sometimes that's true, but it's like no, it's like all right, I have to do this insanely emotional scene and then in half an hour I have to do a scene where I'm like on a dinner date or something and then in an hour later I have to do a scene where I'm at a funeral for my best friend or like and like staying on the whole time is the hardest part. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily being on, it's staying on the whole process. Like do you listen to music? Do you use music like that to get into?
I we've talked about this before. The playlists I think are very helpful. Like, so Haley, for example, we know she's listening to rock and roll. We know she's
Yeah.
listening to edgy stuff. I didn't do it on set. I probably That would have been a good tool to use because you're also trying to balance, like, you want to talk to people, like these are your
Yeah.
coworkers. These are, you want to, but obviously everyone's working. You don't distract.
Yeah.
You can have a chat, of course, and I'm a very social butterfly.
Yeah.
But sometimes I am just sitting in the corner, like, okay,
Yeah.
now what? Um, but I definitely will bring my headphones on set because that's a good one.
Yeah, it's tough because when you are on a set, I've met people who have very different have a very different process than other people, and you have to respect that. Like you have to treat like actors like it's literally like your coworker.
Yeah,
So it's like if somebody does have a process where they do need to be isolated, they do need to do this particular thing, you have to respect that because
of
it's like all
course.
right, that's what this person needs to get into it. Like and um
I think that's where, like, a lot of the misalignment adds up as well. Like, acting is one part of it, of course, but then can you be on set? You have to be directable. Are you
yeah.
professional? Are you distracting? It's literally like school almost, like
Yeah.
easily distracted and distracts
Right.
others.
Right. I know. Oh, and the distraction thing is huge because I think all of us now are a victim in today's day and age with such a heavy use of social media and phones and technology. I've noticed I get distracted a lot
By your
easier.
phone.
Yeah, I get distracted very easily now. Like I have very mixed feelings, strongly mixed feelings about social media in general, because I think
So do I.
for there's a lot of bad. There is a lot of bad. Like, and for us though, we're in an industry where we have to be our own promoters and our own, that I don't there's never been a better time, I don't think, if you're a writer or an actor or a comedian or a sketch comedy writer, comedy skit writer. It's hard to argue that this isn't the best time in the world, because it's like, if you have I have a passion for sketch comedy, little digital shorts. I love that.
Yeah.
And it's like, whenever I think of an idea, I can write it down, I can record it myself, and I can put it out there for free. Like, the reach every individual can have for free
Yeah.
now is insane. I was listening to a podcast with Tina Fey about this, and I love Tina Fey and I love SNL, and I like, those are like my idols. And she was saying, when she was coming up, she was like, the route to that was, you go to an improv theater like the Groundlings or Second City, or and that's like how you'd be noticed. You'd be writing your own sketches, you'd be performing them, and hopefully someone would see you and think you're funny. And that is still true today. Like, that is still the route we go. But she was like, honestly, if I was coming up today, she's like, I'd probably just try to make it on TikTok. I'd probably just try to make it on YouTube, because she was like, if I'm a writer and an actor, I can combine both of those things and make a little 2 minute skit, put it on TikTok, and she's like, you can be noticed that way. So you know, I have a lot of love for that side of it, in terms of reach and promotion. On the flip side, though, my other strong feeling is about it is, I have noticed in myself a diminished, um,
Attention
yeah,
span.
and retention rate and attention span, and easily, like, before you came here today, I'm working on this audition that Chris sent, and I'm still a fan of old school pen and paper. Like, when I get an audition, I like to write it down. It helps me remember things. I'm still a fan of the old fashioned pen and paper, writing it down.
Use a pencil, it's even better. It feels even better,
Yeah, it
trust
feels
me.
old school. I need like a quill,
Yeah.
like dip a quill in ink, and, and even then, I'm writing down my lines, and like, which is such a easy. I'm literally just looking at my computer and writing these down, and as I'm writing it, I literally feel, I'm like, do I really want to check Instagram right now? Like, I can feel that. I'm like, do I really? Am I really being
It's
pulled
getting in
to?
touch with your body, what I was talking about before.
Yeah, so I have such strongly mixed feelings about this.
What you just said, am I being pulled to? It's that feeling.
Yeah, and it's like, even, I don't know. It's a blessing for creatives. There's no doubt about that. It's a blessing. People get noticed from their bedroom now. Like, they get noticed. They can record a song on their guitar, and all of this, and that's great. I everybody should have access to, um a platform, a creative, everybody should have that. Like,
Yeah.
that's but also, it's like, wow,
I know,
I
it's
I'm
very
constantly
polarizing.
distracted. Like,
Also, you asked me about the difference between like school and the real world, and I was talking about structure being directional, what's the word? And being able to be directed, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Um I for the first time, like obviously, your high school is a structural set, things like that, but you still can go on your phone and things like whenever you want. If you want to sneak on it in class, whatever.
yeah,
I was having like 12-hour days and not even caring about my phone, just being so hyper present in the moment.
mm,
You turn your phone off, you watch people perform, you watch your classmates, things like that. It's the same feeling on set. I we were talking about the in between time. One thing I did notice is that I wasn't going on my phone though. I had that still built in my mind from the way of school, but it's just getting hyper present, connecting with
yeah,
people, talking, being in the place, in the moment. I don't know if it's theater training, I don't know if it's acting in general, I don't know what it is, being a part of something. But yeah, once you get that feeling and you become aware, like you said, do I actually want to check my phone right now?
Yeah.
It is such a paradigm. It's polarizing. Someone's life could change tomorrow.
Right.
It's not real. Social media is not real until it becomes real.
Yeah.
So it's like that little bridge gap. The musician in their bedroom, their goal is to be playing live shows in front of people.
Right.
So it's just really hard. Can you get through that portion of that?
Yeah, it's like, can you use it as the tool that it's intended for without it? Like, and like what you just said, I, I like to, where I find the most focus if I'm working on a character, or if I am doing something on camera or performing in any aspect, it, even physically not having your phone on you, like not having it in your pocket, makes a huge difference. Like literally not having the sensation of the phone being in your pocket, um, it's actually amazing. Like I've been I've been thinking about doing like a phone fast, I guess if you could call it, because I can text people who have iPhones from my computer. So like I've been really thinking of doing like a 1 week or a 2 week, literally having my phone off, maybe, checking my texts at night, doing so. I'm really interested in that.
Have a friend hide your phone somewhere where you can't find it or hold onto it for the week.
The thing that is constantly stopping me from doing that is I work out every day and I love listening to music when I work out.
Yeah.
Like I that's actually like my favorite part of my day is when I can get like a good workout in, listen to some good tunes. That's like my favorite part of my day. And so like the biggest obstacle for me not using my phone is actually music. It really isn't socials, although I am addicted as everybody else is, to socials. It's actually music. So I've been thinking about like buying like literally
Well,
an
remember,
iPod.
Laura says in Tech One, yeah,
Like buying an old iPod. I've really been thinking about doing that.
I want a
Downloading,
flip phone.
yeah, because I don't know. I've always been incredibly like spread out and is very easily distracted. I've always been like that, but just in the last few years or so, I can definitely feel it's a bigger challenge to focus. It's a much bigger challenge to focus on things,
Yeah.
which is crazy. But also, also it's in terms of writing or creating, it's an unbelievable tool with unbelievable reach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's funny. So now that
Maybe just try the fast and see how you feel and then decide from there.
it does feel great when you turn your phone off and you don't have it on your body, it's almost immediate where you're like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
I have like a billion less things to worry about. But then it's also like my manager, sends me quite a few auditions, and usually it's like if I'm out and about, I'll look at my email and it'll be like, oh, okay, and the sooner I get that notification, the sooner I work on it, the sooner I turn it in, which is
Yeah.
she's my manager is really kind of a stickler about like when she sends things, she wants them in, she wants them in ASAP. So it's like, man, all right, if I don't have my phone on me, I'm kind of giving myself a competitive disadvantage because there's 100 other people that's gonna audition for this.
But even a phone with no social media on it is better than.
True, yeah,
I know it's a very. I feel the exact same. I even noticed it in like dance class, for example, thinking about, okay, how am I gonna perform this for the video, things like that. Like, what the hell?
yeah,
Once you actually start to become aware and acknowledge your thinking of why you're doing this, is the pull yours? Are you
yeah,
speaking like this in the terms of someone listening to it? Like, it's just, yeah, inauthenticity, and
yeah.
we don't want any of that. When you feel your own real emotions, I think you kind of get resistance to that.
Also, since the last time we talked, Are you represented?
Yes.
Yes, that's awesome. I meant to ask you that earlier since the last time we talked. That's fabulous.
Thank you.
But that congratulations. Seriously, that's such a big step. What's your representation?
So I have an agency I'm signed with called ASAP Talent Management, and I have a manager. His name is Strath.
That's great. Congrats, dude. That's
Strath and Nancy.
that's awesome.
Thank you.
It's only up from here after that, like that's great. Like have you found um a difference so do they send you auditions now, and
Yes.
that's great, dude. That's so awesome.
Thank you. Difference obviously between an agency and a manager, like very different.
Hmm.
One's more broad, one's more focused solely on you.
Yeah.
So that's very helpful. And just having, I like that they're both older, so I can just ask a million questions.
Yeah.
Time in the industry, experience, you can't buy that. So,
That's fabulous. I'm happy for you. Wow, I meant to, I meant to hit the
what was
I
that?
meant to hit the kiss thing, but I gave you a
Do it again.
gun. All right, here's the kiss, and here's the gunshot. That's what
I need them both.
I. That's great. So, what do you have anything that you're working on coming up right now? Is it mainly auditioning? Are there projects that you have coming up?
So, mainly auditioning, yes,
Nice.
and the Order of Chaos with a K, as you know. That's going to be taking place over a few weeks,
Yeah.
so that'll
I
be,
have I have a small part in the second season.
I'm very excited.
I've talked to Omer, and I'm doing that wizard again, which was really fun. The old wizard.
Yes,
That's great. Yeah, I can't wait
but I'll
for
see
that.
you there when you come.
Yeah, that'll be super fun. I it's funny in between. I hope you just keep coming on the pod over and over, because it's funny. Like it hasn't even been that long since the first episode, and I've already made such great growth and great progress. That's great. And that it's only up from here.
Likewise.
It's so fun to see like your friends succeed, and like I I've never been a rising tide kind of lifts all boats. I love like when my friends book jobs
It's
and they
true.
start working. It's so fun because you have worked so hard to get where you're at, and like you did it. Nobody but you did it,
I
and
don't
it's.
always think that, but I know it's true.
I
And
mean,
same for you.
I'm sure everybody has help along the way, and that's you can't diminish like help you've gotten from other people, because that's but it's up to you ultimately, like, and you've done it and you're making it happen, and you have roles. I mean, like, you're in a movie that's on Amazon Prime next year. That's great,
Oh my
dude. That's
God.
great. That's so fun. Like,
I feel like it takes me a while to absorb things as well. I'm very, okay, move on. Okay,
hmm,
move on. Next thing. When I absorb things, or when I fully grasp that, it'll make a deep impact.
yeah,
Maybe when I'm sitting, literally watching it in front of me. But
yeah.
right,
D-
we have to think about those moments and really take them in.
yeah, it's fun. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll get your take on this too, but every character that you play, I think has a little. It becomes like a little special piece of your heart. Like when you think about that experience again, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that was fun." And sometimes, like, there are certain roles or there's certain characters you play where you're like, that was fun. This one I loved. This one I liked. This one was fun for this reason. But uh, do you feel that like anytime you get a job and then it's over, you're like, oh, that was a fun little part of me. I like,
I think I learn through the characters I play.
yeah,
I like experience lives through them that I wouldn't experience in mine, which is, why we do what we do. That's what we want, is
yeah,
to live a million lives and for it to never end. But it stays with me and I think about them after. So maybe not the circumstances that happened, but their mindset
hmm,
of how they were thinking about things. Yeah, I think I learn through the characters I play. Some of them are not, I don't think I've ever not had fun playing one yet. I mean,
Yeah.
that might change. There's some that I have not liked necessarily because it was a challenge
Yeah.
or very, very different to me. But maybe that was just resistance of feeling I'm not doing it right or
Mm.
whatever it may be. But
Do you find that it gets easier? Like, do you find that acting and the process of acting and getting where you need to be, do you find that it gets easier, or do you feel like every challenge is kind of like um the same level of difficulty, or do you feel like you get better at the process in general?
I like say like theater for example, if you're working on something for 4 months,
Yeah.
by the end I have confidence in myself
Yeah.
and trust. Like you get it. They always talk about getting it in your body. That's literally absorbing the emotions, the actions, the word. It literally becomes whether you go into them or they come into you. I don't know.
Yeah.
With auditions, I the less I audition, obviously my confidence can go away if there's been a bit of time in between. But once I know what it feels like to do it at 100% again, like it comes back even if I don't.
Yeah.
It may not be right, like you said. If I'm giving it at 100% energy, then it comes back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I it's funny. It's like when there's sometimes I feel like with auditioning, there's sometimes I feel like, God, this feels like day one to me. It's like, and then there are other times where I'm like, just crushed it.
Yeah.
I'm like God's gift to acting.
I
There's
feel like
like,
an absolute like don't know anything. I honestly
yeah,
feel even though I've trained for 2 years, I'm auditioning everything. Like I feel like I know nothing. But what are you supposed to know? It's just literally life.
yeah. I well, where I'm at with it is I take everything that I get um as a opportunity to showcase what we can do. That's fundamentally that's how I'm tackling things now. It's like everything, no matter what the role is, big or small, insignificant or significant. It's like, okay, I'm there to showcase that I am an actor. That's it. Like I'm there to showcase that I'm an actor. Like the this last thing with Carrie, it's like, all right, I'm playing a cop. I'm so grateful for the opportunity because I've never played a cop. I'm playing the stoic, not a lot of range to this guy, especially in this circumstance. He like because he doesn't have he can't process what's going on. And then the next thing I'm doing, this next project that I'm doing in a month, I'm playing, which is more typical for what I get. I'm playing this like absolute bum. It's like this guy who's like he's like
Frank Gallagher.
he's like this just terrible guy, like domestic abusive just scumbag that gets shot to death, and it's like
I'm not laughing
so
at that. I'm just no, I am. But oh
because
my
that's
god.
more the things I've been getting are more akin to like that, which is so fun because it's like this last thing I worked on playing this, kind of monotone. There's not there's not that much like range in where you can go versus the literal very next project I'm working on is the opposite. There's so much emotion. There's so much. I'm like screaming, and there's physicality. There's a fight between me and my girlfriend, and there's guns, and there's shouting, and there's a lot more range, and to me it's like those are both so fun. Like no matter what the role is, like I'm the same way. Like I like some more than others, but where I'm at now, it's like, okay, I'm here to showcase that I can act.
Yeah.
That's what I'm focused on. I'm even if I have one line in a project, like this, eh, I'm I'm there to deliver to the best of my ability, and everything else is out of my control. I'm gonna do what I can do at 100%, and that's what I can offer. Like
Yeah.
you know.
Because what's the use in overthinking about everything else, even though it's what we do. We're so natural. It's so natural to us, all the moving parts. But how is it simultaneously the hardest and easiest thing at the same
I
time?
know acting is the thing about it. It's an interesting point what you just brought up when you're like, I've been doing this for years now, and I still kind of feel like acting is you could spend a lifetime studying acting and not know everything about it, and you could spend a lifetime studying one particular technique of acting and not absorb everything. And how many acting techniques are there? There are so many. Like it's but on the flips, and that kind of sounds scary. It sounds like intimidating. It's like, oh my god, I'm never gonna know everything. But actually, I kind of find peace in that, where it's like, okay, that means I have an opportunity to grow for the rest of my life. I have an opportunity to learn, and I have an opportunity to get better. It's like golf. Like golf, the reason like all the old guys are so good at golf is because they've been playing for 50 years. Like a guy in their 80s can beat a guy in their 20s.
What's the allure of golf?
I love golf. I'm terrible at it, but the allure of golf is to walk outside for hours with your friends. That's
And
what
patience?
Yeah, that's why golf is good for me. It's like being outside and being with your friends. But it's similar to acting, because with golf, like in your golf swing, there are 1,000 different things to think about, and there are a billion different like um micro adjustments you can make in your swing, and it comes to a point where you're like, I can't focus on every single micro adjustment I need to make, but I can focus on one thing at a time. Maybe I'll focus on like keeping my head down. Maybe I'll focus on keeping like my front shoulder in. Maybe, but I'll just focus on that. I'm not going to focus on these 1,000 things I need to make. And I feel like that with acting too. It's like, okay, there are so many things, there are so many techniques, there are so many methods, there are so many things that can help us and help me or you as an actor, but I can't think about all of them right now. I can focus on one thing. I can focus on plugging in. I can focus on relaxing first. I can focus on my inner life. I can focus on one thing at a time.
And then you'll get the Mel Gibson, and they say, "What's your technique?" The Mel Gibson technique. You know?
However, you get there's everybody. It's like in the
It's just there's no answer.
there's no answer, and it's such one thing can work for somebody that won't do anything for another person. So it's like I in the we're both early in our careers, and
It's like telling someone how to be a human.
exactly, or it's like how do you tell someone to paint? What are you gonna like? I guess you can draw them an outline, or you can give them like a, but you're not gonna. It's the same thing. It's like we're both pretty early in our careers, and we both have you know a long time ahead of us, and there's this conversation that we're having right now. If we have it even 6 months from now, it might actually be a completely different conversation, because I find anytime I'm lucky enough to work, there are pretty big takeaways from it, and there are pretty big, like, I don't know, like there are things that would be like, all right, going forward, I'm actually gonna do this. Like this works better for me. Actually, this like maybe I do need to be kind of to myself on set. Maybe if I'm talking to people all day, maybe that does bring me out of it, or maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
Maybe I can be very social on set and plug in when I need to plug in. It's up to you to figure all that stuff out. Like, but anyway, man, I'm really proud of you, and you're working really hard, and it's been so great. You're the first guest ever here, and you're the first repeat guest, and in between that time, you've made huge growth. You've done huge things, and I'm really proud of you.
Likewise, you're very sweet, and we will be back here in a few months talking about Tech One.
So I guess you'll have to be now the first three-peater on the pod. We'll have you back for the 3P. All right, I love you,
Thank
man.
you. Love you
Here's another
too.
cheers for Alicia Kidman. Thanks for coming on.
The working title.